Today we will solve O-Level Physics 5054 Paper 1 Variant 1 May-June 16 and questions from 21 to 40. From question 1 to 20 we have already solved. Now we will move to question number 21. Question number 21. Light is incident on a mirror. The light is reflected from the mirror. The angle of incidence is I and the angle of reflection is R. Which diagram correctly shows I and R? Okay, here it is incident ray and it is reflected ray. This dotted line is called normal and the angle in between the incident ray and the normal is called angle of incidence. The angle in between the normal and the reflected ray is called angle of reflection. Now here angle of reflection is shown correctly, but here it is shown that angle I is this angle from the mirror to the incident ray. It is incorrect, so option A is not possible. In option B, both angle I and angle R are shown incorrectly. In option C, angle I and angle R is shown correctly, so option C is correct one. Here the angle is shown in between the incident ray and the normal. It is angle of incidence, whereas the angle in between the normal and the reflected ray is represented by angle of reflection, so it is correct one. In option D, angle I is shown correctly, but angle R is not shown correctly. It is incorrect. So our correct option is option C. Question number 22. Which length is the focal length of the lens shown in the diagram? Okay, here we have a convex lens where some rays are passing through the lens. This line is called principal axis. The ray which is moving in parallel with the principal axis after passing this lens pass through the focus, and the distance in between the focus and the lens is called focal length. So the distance in between the center of the lens to the focus, it is called focal length and it is represented by B. So option B is the correct one. It is asked here which length is the focal length. So in option B, the length shown is the focal length of the lens. Question number 23. Light passes from air into a glass block of refractive index 1.5 as shown. Here one light ray is striking on the glass block and it is passed in the block, so it is refracted. What is the angle of refraction and in the glass and what is the critical angle? Okay, here two things are asked. One thing, what is the angle of refraction? What is angle of refraction? The angle in between the refracted ray and the normal is called angle of refraction. So we have to find out this angle. To calculate the angle of refraction, we have studied a formula in the topic of refraction that refractive index is given as sine I over sine R, where this sine I is the sine of angle of incidence, that is 57, and sine R is the sine of the angle of reflection that we have to find out. Here refractive index is given 1.5, angle I is given 57, so we can calculate by using this formula. The angle of refraction we have calculated here, it is equal to 34 degree. Okay, second thing, we have to find out critical angle. In the topic of total internal reflection, we have studied a formula sin C is equal to 1 over refractive index, where sin C is the sine of the critical angle. Now here we have to find out the critical angle, means we have to find out the value of C. So sin C is equal to 1 over refractive index. Refractive index is given 1.5. So sin C will be equal to 1 over 1.5, and by solving this one we will get the answer 42 degree. So angle of refraction is 34 degree and critical angle is 42 degree, and it is given here in the option A, angle of refraction 34, critical angle 42. So option A is correct one. Question number 24. Microwaves are used to transmit television signals to and from a satellite. Which statement about microwaves is correct? Option A. They have a longer wavelength than radio waves. No. Microwaves have the shortest wavelength. Option B. They penetrate the atmosphere without significant loss of energy. Yes, it is the correct one. Microwaves penetrate the atmosphere or any material medium without any loss of energy, without any significant loss of energy. That's why we use microwave for communication purpose. So option B is the correct one. Okay, we will also check the other options. In option C, they travel much faster than radio waves in a vacuum. No, all the electromagnetic waves, they move in a vacuum with a constant speed with the same velocity, and that velocity is equal to velocity of light, and its value is 3 into 10 power 8 meter per second. So option C is not possible. Option D, they warm the satellite and stop it freezing. We have not studied any such thing yet. We can use microwave to warm the water as we use in our home in microwaves oven, but to warm the satellite and stop it freezing, it is not in our observation. So our correct option, our best option is option B. They penetrate the atmosphere without significant loss of energy. Question number 25. Where are gamma rays used? Option A in fluorescent tube, option B in killing cancer cells, option C in prenatal scanning, option D in sunbeds. Okay, in topic of electromagnetic spectrum, we have studied the uses of X-rays and gamma rays. Here it is given for the uses of X-rays that they are used to kill the cancer cells. And here in the gamma rays, it is given here emitted by radioactive materials, uses and effects as of X-rays. So what are the properties and what are the uses for X-rays? Same properties and same uses are also for the gamma rays. So we can say gamma rays are used to kill the cancer cells. And same thing is given in the option B, that gamma rays are used in killing cancerous cells. So option B is correct one. Question number 26. An intruder alarm is adjusted to give a quieter sound without affecting the pitch of the note. How are the amplitude and the frequency of the sound affected? Okay, here it is given without affecting the pitch, means pitch is constant and frequency depends on pitch. So we can say frequency will remain same, frequency will be constant. Now what about the amplitude? For a louder sound, amplitude will be more, and for a quieter sound, amplitude will be less. So we can say if we have to adjust an alarm to a quieter sound, then amplitude we have to keep less and frequency will remain same because here pitch is unchanged. And same thing is given in the option B, that amplitude we have to lower and frequency there will be no change, it will remain same. So option B is correct one. Question number 27. Four plotting compasses are placed near a bar magnet. You may ignore any effects of the Earth's magnetic field. One compass appears like this in the downward direction. What is the possible position for this compass? Okay, here we have a bar magnet. Here it is North Pole and South Pole of the magnet bar. Here we have four compass A, B, C and D. And it is asked in out of these four compass, what is the direction, where will be the direction as shown here. Okay, in the topic of magnetic field, we have studied that the lines of force start from the North Pole and it moves toward the South Pole. Suppose if we put a compass at this position, then the direction of the needle will be in the downward direction. And it is asked here, where will be the direction in this downward direction? So we can say it will be in the downward direction at this position C. Lines of force start from this North Pole and it moves like this. So we can say option C is the correct one. Question number 28. The diagram shows an uncharged ball coated with metallic paint. The ball is suspended from an insulating thread. It is placed near a positively charged rod. Okay, here we have a positively charged rod and here we have a ball that is painted with metallic paint. It is covered with metallic paint. Since it is covered with metallic paint, so we can say it will behave like a metal. In metals, there are free electrons and these free electrons will be attracted toward this positively charged rod. So on this side of the ball, electron will be concentrated. When electrons are concentrated on this ball on this side, so on the other end of the ball, their positive charge will be developed. Now we will check our option. The same thing is shown in the option D, that on this end electrons will be concentrated, or we can say negative charge will be developed because of the attraction of this positively charged rod. So on this end of the ball negative charge will be developed, and on the other end of the ball, on this end of the ball, positive charge will be developed. So option D is correct one. Question number Question number 29. The current in a car headlamp is 2 ampere. The headlamp is switched for 4 minutes. How much charge passes through the headlamp? Okay, amount of charge Q is given as product of current and time, because current is defined as the rate of flow of electrical charges. Current is defined as I is equal to Q over T. So Q will be equal to I into T. Now here current is given 2 ampere and time is given 4 minutes, but time we have to consider in seconds. That's why we have multiplied this one by 60. So by solving this one, we will get the answer 480 coulombs, and this 480 coulombs is given on the option D. So option D is correct one. Question number 30. How can 1 volt also be expressed? Option A 1 coulomb per ampere, option B 1 coulomb per joule, option C 1 joule per ampere, option D 1 joule per coulomb. Option D is correct one, because voltage is defined, EMF is defined as the amount of work done to carry a unit positive charge against electrical field. So work done, unit of work done is joule, and unit of charge is coulomb. So 1 volt or the unit of voltage will be equal to joule per coulomb. So we can say 1 volt is equal to 1 joule per coulomb. So option D is correct one. Question number 31. The cells, lamps and the resistors in the circuits are identical. In which circuit is the lamp the brightest? Okay, here we have four options, option A, B, C and D, and it is asked where the lamp will be the brightest. The lamp will be the brightest where the voltage across the lamp will be maximum. Means we have to find out where the voltage across the lamp is maximum. Now here in the option B and D, we are looking that the cell is connected with three components here. One resistor, then lamp, then one resistor. So voltage will be divided into three parts here. Here in the option D, it will also be divided into three parts. In option A and B, we are looking that the voltage will be divided only in two parts. So we can say voltage across the lamp will be maximum either in the option A or in option C. So option B and D are not possible. Now we will check option A and C only. In option A, we are looking that one resistor is connected with the lamp in series, and here two resistors are connected in parallel, and this parallel combination is connected in series with the lamp. We have studied then when we connect two or more resistors in parallel, then the overall resistance is decreased. So we can say here in the combination of parallel combination, here in parallel combination, the overall resistance will be less, and here for the single resistance, the resistance will be more. And according to Ohm's law, we have studied V is equal to IR. Now keeping the current constant, we can say voltage and resistance are directly proportional to each other. In other words, we can say with the increase in resistance, voltage will be increased, and with the decrease in resistance, voltage will be decreased. So in the option C, the voltage across this combination will be less, and voltage across this single resistance will be more. And we know that the voltage supplied by the cell is sum of all the individual voltages. So we can say voltage across the lamp in option C will be more as compared to voltage across the lamp in option A. Since the voltage across the lamp in option C is more, so in option C the lamp will be the brightest. So option C is correct one. Question number 32. The graph is the voltage current graph for two resistance wire P and Q. Here we have plotted a graph in between current and voltage, so this gradient will represent the resistance. The wires are made from the same material and have equal length. Both the wires are of same material and are of equal length. The resistances of the wire and the cross-sectional area are different. Which wire has the greater resistance and which wire has the larger cross-sectional area? We have two wires, one P and Q. We are looking for the wire P. The gradient is more. Since the gradient is more in P, so we can say resistance will be more in P and resistance in Q will be less. So resistance will be more in P and resistance in Q will be less. Now what about the cross-sectional area? We have studied that R is equal to rho L over A, means if we increase the cross-sectional area, resistance will be decreased. Since here resistance is less in Q, so we can say cross-sectional area of Q will be more. Now we will check our option. In option B, it is given greater resistance for P and larger cross-sectional area for Q. So option B is correct one. Question number 33. A lamp is connected to the AC main supply in series with a switch and a fuse. Which circuit shows these components wired correctly? Okay, here we have four options A, B, C and D. Okay, one thing, fuse is always connected in a live wire, and second thing, switch is connected in between fuse and a lamp, and this one is shown in the option C, that fuse is connected in the live wire and the switch is connected in between fuse and the lamp. So option C is correct one. We will check other options. In option A, fuse is connected correctly, but the switch is connected in a wrong way. It is connected after the lamp, so this option is not possible. In option B, fuse is connected in the neutral. Fuse is not connected in the neutral. Fuse should be connected in live wire, so option B is also not possible. In option D, both the fuse and the switch is connected in the neutral wire. So this option is incorrect. So only correct option is option C, that the fuse is connected in the live wire and the switch is connected in between fuse and the lamp. So our correct option is option C. Question number 34. A student is investigating resistance using the circuit shown. The resistance of R is approximately 5 ohm. What are the most suitable ranges for the voltmeter and for the ammeter? Okay, here we have one resistor and its value is approximately 5 ohm. We have to find out the suitable ranges for the voltmeter and this ammeter. Okay, according to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR, so R will be equal to V over I. Okay, now here first we check our options. Here we have four options A, B, C and D and two columns, one for the voltmeter range and second for the ammeter range. Now in option A, voltmeter is given 0 to 2 volt and ammeter is given 0 to 0.5 ampere. Now we will check here what is the maximum range and minimum range by this combination. For the maximum range, what we have to do, we have to divide the maximum voltage by the minimum current and we got 20 ohm. For the minimum, what we have to do, for the minimum, we have to divide the minimum value of the voltmeter by the maximum value of ammeter. Here I have considered minimum value 0.1 on the voltmeter. So by dividing 0.1 by 0.5, we will get 0.2 ohm. Now from the calculation, we got an approximate range that this combination can measure the resistance from zero point 0.2 to 20 ohm. Here we have to measure the 5 ohm resistance. So this combination that is shown in the option A can be used to find out 5 ohm resistance. Okay, if you will check the other options, in all the other remaining options, we will find that these combination can also be used to calculate 5 ohm resistance. But no need to go for the higher values for the voltmeter and the ammeter, since we can calculate this 5 ohm resistance from this combination as shown in the option A. So option A is the best option. Option A is the correct one. Question number 35. A split ring commutator is used in a simple DC motor. It reverses the current in the coil. How often does it reverse the current? Option A, every quarter turn. Option B, every half turn. Option C, every full turn. Option D, every 2 turns. Okay, in the topic of DC motor, we have studied that split ring commutator is used to reverses the current at every half cycle. So it is given in the option B at every half turn. So option B is the correct one. Question number 36. Which component when used in a circuit allows current to pass in only one direction? Okay, in the topic of electronics, we have studied that diode is a device that passes the current only in one direction. And the symbol of the diode is shown in the option A. So option A is correct one. We have studied diodes allow current to flow in them in one direction only, and the symbol of the diode is shown here. That is same as shown in the option A. So option A is correct one. Question number 37. A potential divider consists of a thermistor and a light dependent resistor LDR. Which conditions give the smallest voltage V across the LDR? Option A, cold and dark. Option B, cold and light. Option C, hot and dark. Option D, hot and light. Okay, first thing, here total voltage is 6 volt, and this 6 volt will be sum of the voltage across the thermistor and across the LDR. Now, if we have to find out the smallest voltage across the LDR, means across the thermistor the voltage should be largest. Now we have to check the condition when the voltage across the thermistor will be largest. In thermistor, we know with the increase in temperature, resistance decreases. Or we can say with the decrease in temperature, resistance increases. So when it is cold, there will be maximum resistance. And when there is maximum resistance, there will be maximum voltage. Why maximum voltage? Because according to Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. Keeping the current constant, we can say voltage and current are directly proportional to each other. So if resistance will increase, voltage will increase. If resistance will decrease, voltage will decrease. So when it is cold, there is maximum resistance and we can say there is maximum voltage. So first condition is it should be cold. Now cold is given in option A and option B. So our possible options are A and B. Now we have to check the second condition. Here in the LDR, with the increase in light, resistance decreases. And with the decrease in resistance, we can say voltage will also be decreased. So for the smallest voltage, it should be light. It should not be dark. It should be light. So second condition is fulfilled in the option B. So option B is the correct one. That for the thermistor, it should be cold. Why? Because when it will be cold, there will be maximum resistance, and when there will be maximum resistance, the voltage will also be maximum. And second condition for the LDR, when there is a light, there will be minimum resistance. So when there will be minimum resistance, there will be minimum voltage. So for smallest voltage, it should be cold and light, and it is given in the option B. So option B is correct one. Question number 38. Which type of radiation consists of electrons? Option A, alpha particles. Option B, beta particles. Option C, gamma rays. Option D, X-rays. In the topic of nuclear physics, we have studied that radioactive substance emits out three types of particles, alpha, beta and gamma, where alpha particles are positively charged, beta particles are negatively charged, and gamma rays are electromagnetic radiations. Since beta particles are negatively charged and electrons are also negatively charged, so we can say beta particle consists of electrons. So option B is correct one. Question number 39. A sample of a radioactive isotope produces a count rate of 10,000 counts per minute. The half-life of the isotope is 1 day. What was the count rate of the sample 2 days before? Okay, what is meant by half-life? The half-life of a radioactive isotope is the time taken for half the nuclei present in any given sample to decay. Means if currently 10,000 count per minute, then a 1 day before it should be twice of this one, means 20,000, and 2 days before it should be twice of 20,000, means 40,000 counts per minute. And it is given option D. So option D is the correct one. Question number 40. Which statement about a nucleus of N715 is correct? Okay, here in nitrogen, there is a atomic number is 7 and mass number is 15. Atomic number means number of protons. So we can say here number of protons is 7 and here mass number means number of protons plus neutron. So here we can say number of neutron will be equal to 15 minus 7, that is equal to 8. So here in nitrogen total number of proton is 7 and total number of neutron is 8. And it is given in the option C. The nucleus contains 7 protons and 8 neutrons. So option C is correct one. Okay, today we have completed 5054 paper 1 variant 1 May June 16. Thank you very much.